I'm Blanche with Feast in the Middle East, and I'm really excited to share this dish with you because this is a dish I make for Easter, for Christmas, for when I want to wow somebody, for when I want to treat somebody. And people always ask me, how do you make it? It looks so difficult to make. It really isn't. Now what you have to do though is look at my other video where I teach you how to make roasted eggplant, because I already have the eggplant ready to go. All I have to do is add the other ingredients. Are you ready? Let's do this. So we're gonna start with 2 turns of the pan of some extra virgin olive oil and heat up the pan nicely before we saute our onions. And I have about 1 cup of onions that we'll be sauteing. So why don't I just go through the ingredients while this is heating up. I've got 1 cup of onions. I've got 1 pound of chicken. You could use ground beef and you could use lamb too if you don't like chicken. 2 large eggplant, all sliced up and grilled, ready to go. I've got about 1 teaspoon of salt, about 2 teaspoons of allspice. I have about 1/4 cup of pine nuts, and I've got about 6 cloves of minced garlic. Now that we've got all the ingredients, let's get ready to roll. We've got the onion, 1 cup of onion we're gonna add to this oil here, and we're gonna stir it up until it's translucent and slightly browned. So let's do that. Now, Mousa'ka'ah is actually another word for Mousa'ka'ah. It's also a popular word for this dish in the Arab world, which is a close cousin to Moussaka, which is the Greek version of eggplant casserole. But it is definitely a cousin to the Greek moussaka. We call it Mousa'ka'ah or Mousa'ka'ah, and the difference is we don't add bechamel sauce. We might use some different spices as well. Next we're gonna add the garlic. I've got 6 cloves of minced garlic. That's a lot of garlic. I know, that's how my family does things. I think 2 cloves of garlic is a little too little for this. To that we're gonna add the chicken. This is my twist on this dish. Traditionally, in the Arab world, like in Egypt, Palestine, Syria, they use chili cut lamb. And not everybody in my family likes lamb. And I know that chicken is a crowd pleaser. It works for everyone's palate. So chicken works great. I really like the flavor. You can't tell the difference. If you use dark meat chicken especially, it's gonna be especially tender and rich. We need that rich flavor. So the spices that we're gonna add are about 1 teaspoon of salt. There you go. Add more to taste if you want. And we're gonna add about 2 teaspoons of allspice. You notice I use allspice in almost everything because this is the spice of the Levant. Basically, Lebanon and Syria and Jordan, Palestine, they love allspice. And contrary to what people think, allspice is 1 spice. It's not a series of spices combined into one, like garam masala. It's just 1 spice. You could always use some cracked black pepper. And essentially what you want to do is saute this until the chicken is nice and browned. The reason why it's called Mousa'ka'ah in Arabic, it means cooled. So essentially it means that you can eat this dish cold or not warm through. I like this dish warmer on some warm rice, but if you want to take it to work or if it's hot outside and you want a great dish, you could eat this without warming it up too. It's absolutely delicious. And this is the fun part. This is the layering part. So I just have, this is a shortcut. I use marinara, but if you have a lot of tomatoes in your garden, it's a great way to use them. Just puree the tomatoes and cook them with garlic and salt till they cook down a little bit. So I'm just putting a base of just some marinara, and I am going to use my hands. And I'm going to layer, this is eggplant that I grilled earlier in the day. And remember, you need to take the bitterness out of the eggplant by salting it, squeezing out the moisture, and then grilling it on high heat, like 400 degrees. So I'm just gonna put like a little bit on the bottom. I'm going to take the chicken and put it in the middle, like this. Right here. There's a lot of juice in there that's been cooked out. Don't add the juice to your casserole or else it'll get a little bit too watery. You want to avoid that watery. One time I had a dinner party where this was the featured dish, and the main people that I invited did not like eggplant. Like, they never ate it, they never wanted to eat it, and I went through all the trouble to make it, and I said, just please try it. So, because they were filling up on the appetizers, And they did try it, and then they became eggplant converts. So go figure, this will actually change people's minds. So now that I've got that, I'm gonna put another layer of the grilled eggplant, just like this. And it doesn't have to be as covered as lasagna with noodles. I mean, it's just all kind of haphazard. What I'm gonna do is put the rest of this marinara on top. I have the oven set at 350 degrees. And we're gonna bake it in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes or until bubbly. Here, I have about quarter cup of pine nuts. This is really tricky, guys, because pine nuts can burn pretty quickly, especially in hot olive oil. So don't be cooking this and like go running some errands, like ironing your shirts or watching TV or whatever it is that you do on a daily basis. Don't do it. Just keep your eye on these pine nuts till they turn nice and brown. And what you're going to do is put it over the casserole once it's hot and bubbly out of the oven. Don't cook it in the oven because it'll burn. We're doing the cooking process right here. This is going to add a beautiful nutty flavor to the casserole. I don't think moussaka does this. If you Greeks do this, please let me know if you add the pine nuts on top. This is definitely something Middle Eastern that we enjoy over a lot of rice-based or meat-based dishes. We like to throw pine nuts over. If you don't have pine nuts or if it's too expensive for you, you can always replace it with chopped almonds. Chopped almonds work really, really well. Time to put this deliciousness in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes or until nice and bubbly and browned around the edges. So I've toasted these pine nuts previously, and I'm only gonna add it to half of the casserole because not everyone likes pine nuts. In my family, half love them and half could care less about them. So I'm gonna just put them on top, and I'll be ready to go. They add a nice crunchy nutty flavor. So here's a serving suggestion. If you've seen my other video on how to make turmeric garlic rice, well, it pairs perfectly with the mnezela. You've got all these beautiful flavors together. Let me tell you, eggplant haters, you're not gonna hate eggplant anymore after you try this. Okay. I don't want to sound vain gushing about my own food, but I'm gushing about this. I have no shame whatsoever. This is ridiculous. Leave me a comment in the comment section right here on YouTube. Subscribe to my page. Join me on Facebook at Blanche's Feast in the Middle East. Until next time, sahtin.